all right. Welcome, welcome. I'm glad you guys are here. For those of you that are watching on the video, you didn't get to see the or hear the theme song going out, but we have a song called "The Art of Invention" that starts this show off. And it is Monday, and it's time for the BFTAA and more show. This is your host, Louis George Walker, looking a little shiny here today. It's a little warm in the place. But how are you doing today? It's a great day. We've got some things to go over that I think are pretty interesting. So we're going to get right into it. Let me start my Twitter and Periscope account going. If I can preview that. So you know right now we are live on 4 different platforms. We're looking to grow that number, but right now we're live on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, and Periscope. So if you go to any of those, type in KUAW Radio or KUAW-LPFM for Facebook, and you should pick us up on there. So it looks like I should be going out now. I don't see my preview. Let's see if I can view this. Okay, so far it doesn't seem to want to put it. There we are. We're going out. Okay, so we're live on all of our channels right now. So definitely glad that you guys are here. Glad that everybody is joining online. Those that are picking up just the audio broadcast, we're glad that you're here. That is at kuaw.org. So if you don't have it on video or you don't like Facebook or what have you, you can go to kuaw.org and you can listen to the audio only of this. And also, if you have the TuneIn app, on your phone, or download the TuneIn app, and you search KUAW, and we come up on there. There's a few other sites that do carry the radio station because they just go through and pick up different internet stations. So if you type in KUAW Radio, you're bound to see some locations where you can listen to us, because we've been on the air for a few years now. We're continually growing. We have over 11,000 listeners on our show. So we're just glad that you guys are here today and hope that you will tell a friend about it. Tell them they can go to YouTube and pick us up right now, or on Facebook, or on one of the other sites. Also, if you have a smart speaker like that Google or Amazon speaker, tell it to play KUAW, and you will hear us there also. So you can play, there we go, get that straightened out a little bit. Doing it over the phone's looking a little backwards. Okay, this is my petrified forest hat. So I had to wear it last year this time. We were out, we made a trip out to California to pick up a control board and drove through the petrified forest, went down the old Route 66. We had a good car trip, me and my wife, and we went to Las Vegas and Hoover Dam, all of that stuff. So I had a good road trip. So this is a cap I got from there. You see a little animal. I don't know what type of animal it is, but I picked that up at the Petrified Forest in New Mexico. I believe that's in New Mexico. We drove through New Mexico and Arizona, but I think that was in New Mexico where we went through the Petrified Forest. But it was a great trip. And like I say, it was about a year ago that we were on the road, and that was before Corona and all of that hit us. So we'll go with it. But this is the BFTAA and more show, and we like to talk to you about technology. And we've got a good show lined up today, and we're going to do a little talking about medical technology, because there's been some breakthroughs going on the medicine side. And that's also a part of STEM, which is science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. The STEM programs are those that lead toward a lot of discoveries. So if you know a young person that would seems to have an aptitude, or you think they might like tearing things apart, inventing stuff, see about getting them into science or engineering, some kind of a technological field. And they may not be engineers, they may not be rocket scientists, but they may still find a career field that is enjoyable to them and is still beneficial to this country, to this nation. We need all the engineers that we can get. The United States is still behind on engineers. We don't graduate as many engineers as a lot of other countries, and we need to. And we've got a big source in the minority communities that sometimes goes overlooked and underrepresented as you talk about the big engineering programs and science, technology programs in colleges, and even getting pointed that way while they're in grade school and high school. So we want to let our kids know that they have the abilities they can do, and that we want to encourage them to get into those fields. So if you know somebody that's involved in technology or that's interested in technology, tell them that is a good field, and we hope that we can work with them in some way. The BFTAA and More Show is a product of a partnership between the W.E.B. Du Bois Learning Center, yes, and the Black Family Technology Awareness Association. I see Miss Mary Moore has joined us here, and Marva Forbush, April Almaza. I'm glad that you guys are all on and checking out the show and what we've got. This is a joint venture, like I say, with the W.E.B. Du Bois Learning Center and the Black Family Technology Awareness Association. And Miss Moore, I've got your CD. We're going to see about getting that in, and we want to get her on this show, get her on here and stuff. She's Mother Moses. So we got some more shows that'll be coming up. This coronavirus has done a number on the podcast industry or the radio broadcasting industry. We're trying to get people back in the studios because it's kind of thinned out, and that's understandable as people don't want to be exposed or caught in anything that may compromise their health. So with that being said, though, we're starting new shows all the time. One of the new shows that's been on a little while now, Shifting Paradigms, has really been taking off and doing good. We also have a new audio show. If you haven't heard it on the weekends, Friday and Sunday, there's a show, the Jamal Banks Show. Jamal Banks plays some gospel and inspirational music, also does some interviews stuff. It's an hour-long show. Catch him on Friday right after the Cheryl Underwood show at 2 o'clock Friday afternoon. You can check out the Jamal Banks Show, the young man that's making a name for himself and coming up in the radio industry and the syndication industry, and we've got him right here. We also play him on Sunday at 1 o'clock, from 1 to 2. So he's on from 1 to 2 on Sunday and from 2 to 3 on Friday. So check out the Jamal Banks Show. We'll have it on our calendar so you can check the calendar, find out when it is. If you don't know where our calendar is, go to www.kuaw.org and you can find the calendar of our shows when things are coming on. Right now we have a couple that are still in hiatus, which is the sports show that we have, the Hat Trick, and also Black Degreed and Unfiltered. Both of those were Monday and Thursday shows. Black Degreed and Unfiltered was a Monday show, and the Hat Trick, the sports show, was Monday and Thursday. They alternated Mondays. So, we want you to check them out. They'll be coming back. We'll be bringing in more shows. And if you know somebody that's interested in a radio career and a broadcast career, would like to work with this, or just interested in helping out in the community and getting community information out, be glad to have you. Now, one thing as I was talking about STEM that we want to bring forth, that we do every week, is we talk about what's going on at NASA. So the National Aeronautics and Space Administration does a This Week at NASA program. And we like to do that to show you some of the opportunities that are available in science. We've done, a year ago or so, everybody was talking about Hidden Figures and the ladies that were portrayed there. And there are still a lot more stories of African Americans, of Hispanics, of women that are doing great things and have done great things in a lot of fields of science to show. So we just like to bring that up. So we want you to watch this week's episode of This Week at NASA. Get it lined up here for you.
A record-tying spacewalk to upgrade the space station. The station crew receives a new shipment of supplies. And looking forward to seeing Ingenuity take flight on Mars. A few of the stories to tell you about this week at NASA. On July 21st, NASA astronauts Bob Behnken and Chris Cassidy conducted a nearly 5.5-hour spacewalk outside the International Space Station. They upgraded station systems and prepared the outpost for future equipment to deploy experiments into space. Behnken and Cassidy have joined Michael Lopez Alegria and Peggy Whitson as the only other U.S. astronauts to complete 10 spacewalks. On July 23rd, an uncrewed Russian Progress supply spacecraft launched to the station from the Baikonur Cosmodrome in Kazakhstan. Several hours later, it arrived with almost 3 tons of food, fuel, and supplies for the crew. Our Mars 2020 mission is targeted for launch July 30th from Cape Canaveral Air Force Station in Florida. The mission will carry the Mars 2020 Perseverance rover to the Red Planet and the Ingenuity Mars helicopter. This technology demonstration, which has completed its series of testing on Earth, will make history's first attempt at powered flight on another planet the very next time it spreads its wings.
Really, our job isn't done until we see the same test flight being performed at Mars. So next time we fly, it'll be at Mars. But that's our ultimate goal. That's when we'll go, yes.
You can learn more about Ingenuity at go.nasa.gov/Mars helicopter.
This is emblematic of the greatness that comes from these kind of exploration initiatives.
Administrator Jim Bridenstine and other NASA leaders joined a July 20th virtual discussion with the Space Foundation. The event highlighted how NASA's Artemis program for the Moon and our Mars Perseverance rover mission are helping us prepare for human exploration of Mars. Technology development has already begun to enable a crewed Mars mission as early as the 2030s. Capabilities being worked on range from powerful propulsion systems to next-generation high-tech spacesuits to pressurized rovers astronauts can live and work in for weeks. Check out go.nasa.gov/Mars Tech for more about these and other space technologies NASA is working on to make Mars science fiction a reality. NASA's Planetary Protection Office tries to ensure that missions to Mars and other places in the solar system that might have life do not carry too many spores, cells that could reactivate and transport earthly bacteria. This is especially important for a mission such as Mars 2020 that will collect samples for possible return to Earth. The latest episode of our Gravity Assist podcast at go.nasa.gov/planetprotect has more about planetary protection, including what your hand sanitizer has in common with NASA's clean rooms. That's what's up this week at NASA. For more on these and other stories, follow us on the web at nasa.gov/twan.
All right. That's what's going on at NASA. Let me get my camera back on here. All right, yes, that's what's happening at the National Aeronautics and Space Administration, and I hope that you get something out of it. It's always exciting. When I was a young man, space and rockets and all that were very exciting to me. I always wanted toy or model rockets and watch shows about that. I didn't grow up to be a scientist or a rocket engineer or anything like that, but I did get into a field of electronics that was very exciting to me, and I think a lot of that was stirred by me wanting to find out about those type of things that would help you in space. And yeah, I ended up on Earth with the electronics, but I thought it was a pretty good field, and I did enjoy my career that I had. So you never know what may enthuse or get a young person encouraged to go with stuff like that. So, okay, I see La Saxton has put on a dancing panda bear. I appreciate that. And daughter Taylor is on there. How you doing? She's got a couple of young boys that I think may really get involved into the sciences and the technology field. So we'd like to expose kids to it. Everybody's not going to get there. Everybody's not going to be a scientist or anything like that. But the thing is that we want to expose our kids to as much as possible, expose them to different things so that they can pick and they can make a choice from seeing and doing. You know, as they say in one of those sayings is you can't aspire to be something that you've never seen. So you want to show them a lot of things and show them about science, technology, engineering, show them about sports, show them about everything that may help them to make a good decision on what they really want to do, as they know all the different opportunities that are out there before them. So that's what we try to do here, just try and make you aware. As our program is that we started, our nonprofit is the Black Family Technology Awareness Association. And the thing about that awareness is we just want to make people aware of the opportunities that are there, of the technology that we can use, of the, the internet, broadband internet, and all that can be done and learn and everything that you can do with that. That's what it's about. That's what we're about. That's what we've always strived to do for folks. So we really appreciate you checking in with us. One of the things we want to talk about, though, as we said, we're going into the medical, and medicine, that's science, that's technology, all of that's wrapped up in the medical field. They've got some of everything from high-tech supercomputers working on stuff to having to diagnose diseases and all of that. And I ran across an article. If you guys have never been to this site, there's a good site you may want to log into and make it one of your favorites, and that would be Face to Face Africa. It's FACE, the number 2, FACE Africa. Face to Face Africa. They have a lot of articles, not just of African Americans, but the whole diaspora. So Africans from in Africa to over in Europe and all other places, they give you stories on it. And I was looking in there and I found one. It said it's from their Mildred Europa Taylor, who's associate editor, talks about a medical student that creates a handbook to teach doctors how illnesses appear on dark skin. Talk about diversity. We need to have diversity in our medical schools. Says a black medical student who was only taught how to recognize conditions on white patients has created a handbook showing how symptoms of diseases can look on darker skin. Yeah, Malone Makwandi, and I probably messed up your last name, Makwandi, a second-year student at St. George's University of London, wrote Mind the Gap to help other medics spot symptoms of diseases on black and minority ethnic, which they call BAME over in England, BAME, black and minority ethnic people. The booklet features side-by-side images of illnesses showing how they appear on light and dark skin. It also tells doctors the appropriate language to use with patients. He said, on arrival to medical school, I noticed the lack of teaching in darker skin. We were often being taught to look for symptoms such as red rashes, which I was aware would not appear as described on my own skin. That's the thing that you have to think about our doctors. We're training doctors, black doctors and white, but they're trained to look at, a lot of times, at white skin. So when flagging this to his tutors, it was clear that they didn't know of any other way to describe these conditions on patients of darker skins. I knew that I had to make a change to that. So, they said, look at it and see, if it's red. They didn't have nothing else to say. He further said in a statement, the booklet addresses many issues that have been further exacerbated during the COVID-19 pandemic, such as families being asked if the potential COVID patients are pale or if their lips turn blue. Well, on us people of color, that's going to be a hard one to say. Are they pale or do their lips turn blue? Well, it doesn't happen. It's not the same way. We don't get pale. These are not useful descriptors for a black patient, and as a result, their care is compromised from the first point of contact. So when you call, and think about that, if you call a 911 number, if you call anybody and you say, well, there's a person here, they're unconscious, and they may say, well, are they pale or are they lips blue? And, what do you say? If it's it's a black person, I don't know, I can't tell. It is essential that we begin to educate others so they are aware of such differences and the power of clinical language we currently use. So Milwaukee School has thrown its weight behind the project and has partnered with him and with a team of lecturers, including Margaret Turner, a lecturer in diversity and medical education, to help him publish the book. It was agreed that this was a very important issue and an essential part of decolonizing the curriculum, a university spokesman said. So decolonizing the curriculum. See, the curriculum was not set up with other races in mind. And that's talking about a medical school. But just think about that. Does that also apply to a lot of other educational institutions? Is a lot of the way that our things were set up, classes are set up, was a curriculum that did not consider diversity. And in some instances, that may not make a difference because 1 and 1 is going to be 2 in math. But as you start talking about medical or science or something like that, that can make a difference. There's a lot of things in life that we have to consider all sides of it. And you know, if you talk about over in Europe, they talk about a colonizing to where they did that, and that's, you know, what they use as a word for that. But we're talking about diversity. So he's hopeful that this booklet will bring change in the healthcare industry. I hope that the works make healthcare professionals aware of some of the biases they may have and know what impact this has on patients. It is important for medical professionals. It's important medical professionals are aware of variation in presenting symptoms when treating a diverse range of patients that they serve. I hope the work will help to increase the confidence of darker skinned patients to seek medical advice. So that's something that we have to look at. So I want to thank this young man. That comes out of England. And, you know, we want to talk about that. There's another issue going on right here or worldwide that we've been looking at lately, and that comes to the coronavirus. There's a lot of looks right now there's a trial starting. They're looking for 3,000 patients or individuals that would sign up to volunteer to trial the coronavirus, one of the coronavirus's vaccines that they have going on here. You know, the whole world is looking at this. All of a sudden now, doctors and scientists are being considered rock stars. But I go from a article in Ozzy by Daniel Malloy. He's a senior editor, and he talks about this. Says this week, Moderna begins phase 3 trial of 30,000 people in the U.S. for its coronavirus vaccine. With a $472 million boost from the U.S. government, it's one of 27 vaccine candidates across the globe that are currently in human trials. An unprecedented race that's moving forward with remarkable speed, joined by billions of dollars from world governments, nonprofits, and big pharma. The leading vaccine candidates are targeting mass production for the end of this year, and big pharma's reputation is on the line like never before. So yeah, they're looking for 30,000 volunteers. They said that there was a link on some of the websites. We don't have it right here at KUAW to put on Facebook, but if you'd like to volunteer, and they do need people of color to volunteer, because if you say, well, they don't try that or it doesn't work on us and stuff, well, if we don't volunteer to be part of the study, they won't find out if it's not effective on African Americans or people of African descent unless they get an opportunity to trial it. And I know a lot of us are scared, and I don't want to be a guinea pig and this, that, and the other and stuff. But as these things go forward and as they're approved, that's how they're approved, is with volunteers. And think of it, they're looking for 30,000 people. 15,000 of them will get the vaccine, 15,000 won't. So you got a 50-50 chance if you volunteer that you won't even get the vaccine. So you don't even have to worry about it not working on you. And then they just want them to go around like normal, like everybody else is, trying to protect yourself and stuff. And they're going to look at the 15,000 that didn't have anything in their, shot that they took, and the 15,000 that did, and see if the numbers change. They're not going to have any of them do anything special or go outside or go to corona parties or anything like that. They just want to trial them. And this is a thing that's going on in a lot of places. So that's news. You can bet your bottom dollar that your president is going to be talking about it. He'll be out there letting you know that these trials are going on and that cure is right around the corner. We don't know. We've got to check that out because that is something that is just now getting into the happening. It says the best known treatment for COVID-19 is the antiviral drug remdesivir. But a slew of drugs is being thrown at the virus, with 21 existing drugs shown to fight replication of the disease in a lab setting. According to a new study in Nature, doctors in the United Kingdom are finding progress with an inhaled version of the drug interferon beta. And a Texas doctor claims to have found the silver bullet with a cocktail of his own. Experience over the past 4 or 5 months has also bred basic improvements in care, such as putting coronaviruses on their patients on their stomachs to improve oxygen flow. So we're lessening the death rate, even though the plague, this pandemic, continues to spread and continues to affect more and more people worldwide and more Americans specifically. It is not necessarily a death sentence if you get it, but they're working to make it better. They're working to work on how we can get this thing worked out. So that's something. But it says you have to get ready to see President Donald Trump touting these advances more regularly. Since he's suffering politically, Trump recently brought back the daily coronavirus briefings in an attempt to show he's on top of the most important issue in American life. The White House wants him at the podium solo, no Anthony Fauci controversies allowed, to announce the latest wins. So things are going on. Things are looking good. Yes, it has become political. It is political. So you'll hear Trump talking about it. You'll hear Biden talking about what Trump says about it. It's going to be going back and forth both ways. But the main thing we want to look at is these 30,000 patients or volunteers that are going into the trial and seeing what the outcomes will be. That's what we want. We definitely want a cure. We can see whoever wants to take the blame or take the credit when it goes good or it goes bad. But the main thing is that we've got science out there working on it. And regardless of what anybody might say, we need scientists, we need doctors, we need professionals when it comes to finding out and treating something like this. It's not about hocus pocus. It's not about, we're going to make something right quick or anything like that, or a lot of theories or conspiracies about it and all of that. No, it's about using good science to work on eliminating a naturally formed virus. It's viruses. There's plenty of coronaviruses. This is another variation of it. But it's just something that we have to deal with. We have to work with. But science, technology, engineering, math, all of those are involved, STEM. So that's why I wanted to bring this medical side in, and let's talk about the medicine a little bit, because that's part of STEM. STEM isn't just about robots and computers. A lot of people think, well, yeah, that STEM program, they're going to learn about robots and engineering and all of that. But some of it is about science. Some of it is about different technologies that we can use, and doesn't all involve using a computer or using a robot, and we talk about mathematics because that is one of the keys to us being able to do a lot of things. So remember, STEM, science, technology, engineering, and math, is non-political in and of itself, but people are political. Now, as we go on, let's move off of the trials, off of the medicine side of it, and let's look at some entrepreneurship. Yes, entrepreneurship, wanting to help your community, also to start businesses, to build, to create. Science, technology makes that possible, but then it has to be manufactured. It has to be produced, and it has to be made to where people can make a living by producing it. So things have to be sold, things have to be manufactured, have to be made. There is a system of barter, of trade that we use, that we call an economy and money. So being an entrepreneur is not a bad thing. It's hard work and a lot, but there's a young lady, Miss Crystal Hensley. She's the first black woman to launch a community solar company. Yes, I got this out of Face to Face Africa also by Mohammed Awal. It says Crystal Hensley is an entrepreneur and advocate for the use of solar power. She founded a community solar farm company called We Solar Energy. The focus of the firm is to provide affordable solar power to under-resourced communities. Launched on Juneteenth, so she just started this company on Juneteenth 2020, We Solar electricity consumers can purchase shared solar from a local project without having to install any equipment in their homes through We Solar. The company's website said. In turn, residents save hundreds on their electricity bills. The coming into being of We Solar has made Hensley the first black woman to launch a community solar company. The company was launched in Baltimore, Maryland, and expects to expand to other cities in the future. Well, the fact that I am the first black woman to do this should tell you a lot, said Hensley. Community solar is not a novel concept, yet not many people are aware of it. There is no shortage of talented, intelligent black women in this country. We we just are not as represented or talked about as entrepreneurs as other racial and gender groups. I think that one of the reasons black people hesitate to start businesses is because they do not have role models to inspire them. There's a saying, you can't be what you can't see. I think in order for black girls and women to feel confident in their endeavors, it is important for us to see and know other successful people who look like us. So according to the Solar Energy Industries Association, the Solar Foundation, whites make up 88% of the top tier positions in the United States solar industry. 88%. Also, white men are said to represent 80% of that 88 group. So Hensley said Juneteenth was chosen for the launch of the company because it had always held a special meaning to Black America. But it was especially poignant this year in the wake of the heightened killings of black people by police and private citizens. We Solar is committed to bringing community solar to those who would not normally access it, which includes black communities, communities of color, and working class people, she added. Hensley has always been passionate about serving the underserved and under-resourced communities of the United States since her childhood days in Brooklyn, New York. She was honored as the 2010 Howard University Legislative Fellow, providing her the opportunity to work in the U.S. Senate on the staff of Majority Leader Harry Reid. In addition to serving as program manager for the Senate Democratic Diversity Initiative, she was Majority Leader Reid's liaison to local, state, and federal officials and national organizations. Later, she continued her work empowering constituents with legislative support favorable to average citizens by heading up community affair policies in the office of Congresswoman Eleanor Norton. A profile of her said, "The experience Hensley gained on Capitol Hill was a perfect fit for her role as director of Government and Community Relations for Neighborhood Sun, a regional solar company in Maryland. Working with solar energy developers and city leadership, she helped thousands of low to moderate income families save on their utility bills. She then decided to leverage her knowledge in this emerging industry, leading to the establishment of We Solar. Mentored by the leadership of Neighborhood Sun and with the support of solar energy providers, We Solar was born." So that's the thing, is that we can and we should look at being engineers and entrepreneurs. And that can start by what you're doing right now. If you're on a job, if you're working in corporate America, if you're just working for somebody else, you can maybe see how that can lead to your own entrepreneurship. She worked for a solar company. She worked with them, and then with their support, she's even starting this company. So, it's not always that you have to just go out there and do it yourself or invent the wheel from scratch. There are people, there are mentors, there are people that will come to help you if they see that you're really trying to do something, if you're really trying to make it for yourself. You never know where your help's going to come from. You just get out there and you start working at it and you go. Same thing happened around here when we were looking at starting a radio station with no experience even in the field, that people came and helped because we were trying to do something. We have people that come now and volunteer, and we have professionals that have volunteered and helped, donated equipment, gave us some of their expertise and knowledge, and that's all because they see you trying to do something. So think about that, and now we've got a African American, a black woman that has started a solar company. She's reselling from, and you don't have to put the solar panels on your house. So they've got a solar farm out somewhere. I don't know exactly how it works, but the electricity from it you can buy, and you can buy it less than you can buy power that's generated from normal electric companies, so that will offset your cost. You may have to use theirs at night or on rainy days, but you can use the We Solar in the daytime. So there's ways that we have to look at that, and all of us would appreciate saving on those electric bills, especially this time in the summer. I don't know about you, but my electric bill has gotten pretty high with the air conditioner running as much as it's been running. But that's what we wanted to let you know about. And then staying on the entrepreneurial side, there was an article that I ran across by Susan Ashworth, and this came from the Radio News magazine, but it talks about podcasting to break the $1 billion barrier. So we talk about this casting online. We talk about this show. We talk about the shows that we do that you can pick up on YouTube and Facebook. And then the podcast that you can just pick up whenever you want to on Apple or some other podcasting sites. One of our board people here has started a podcasting thing that he does, a podcast studio. So that is a coming business and it's growing. And they said podcasting is to break the $1 billion barrier in 2021. That means with advertisers and stuff that podcasting is going to be up to be over $1 billion enterprise. So you have to think about that. It says there's good news on the horizon for podcast revenue growth and presumably for radio organizations that are active in that space. Over the last several years, podcast ad revenues accelerated at a rate nothing short of stunning, said Pierre Bouvard, Chief Insights Officer at Cumulus Media and Westwood One. He often blogs in support of radio's place in the audio arena. He was commenting in his latest post about a report on U.S. podcast advertising revenues from the Interactive Advertising Bureau and PricewaterhouseCoopers. In doing so, he also noted the ongoing strength of AM/FM radio compared to other audio media, citing separate data from Edison Research. So with expected growth of 14.7% through 2020, the stage has been set for podcast revenues to hit $1.1 billion in 2021, according to IAB PwC report. So hey, you know, we started this station here, and we're part of that universe. Some would call internet radio, podcasting, and what have you. But we have a lot of different shows. We have people that broadcast here, and we even broadcast some podcasts. So that is a thing that is coming, and there's revenue to be had in it. So if you would like to join in with KUAW Radio, because we're going to get a part of this. It's $1 billion out there, so we're going to see if we can build KUAW Radio up so that we can maybe be able to pay all of our bills. You know, it's a hard job trying to keep the lights on, keeping the internet going, and paying insurance and all the other things that you have to do. And if we can get part of this ad revenue, so we're going to have to start beating the bush, see about getting some more advertisers. We've got 2 or 3 on here now, but we really need to grow our revenue stream. And that's one thing that we're going to look at doing right here at KUAW Radio. So if you'd like to join in on us, with us, get in touch with KUAW. You know, we'd be glad to work with you on that. If you want to help us with podcasting, if you're good in graphics, I'm working on coming up with a video now that shows in between shows when we're showing this. Yeah. When we're
Uptime spacewalk to upgrade the space station. The station crew receives.
We want to make that a little bit better, and we want to get all of our operations running a little bit smoother. But when that commercial is on, we're going to come up with some new things, and we want to highlight it. So if any of you out there are good graphic artists or know how to do video graphics and things like that and would like to help out at KUAW, we could use your help. You don't have to come in if you want to do it from home and stuff and send it in, but we need to make some movies, some short bits that we can use in between shows or while we're having breaks, and to introduce shows when they get ready to come on. So a lot of that graphic work we want to try and get done here as soon as possible, and we could use your help. So if you'd like to help KUAW Radio out, we'd be glad to have you stop by. Give us a call. 816-599-6893 is the number. You can give us a call at 816-599-6893 and say that you want to be a volunteer, that you want to help out. Say that you've got an idea for a show and you want to see about working that in, or you got an idea of how we can make broadcasting better. Because we're not saying that we're pros and that we know how to do it all. So we're willing to take on anybody that would like to help us out in this endeavor. That's right. That's right. And we're going to also need some salespeople so we can go out and get some more advertisers and things on. So if you're interested in working with KUAW Radio, we'll be glad to have you. Now, before we go, we have to come out with some of the crazy news that's out there. Kind of crazy. I would say it was crazy news, except it comes from a United States senator. So that doesn't make it. It's not good that it's crazy coming from somebody that's in such a high position. But our Senator Tom Cotton of Arkansas came out with slavery was a necessary evil to build America. The junior Republican senator from Arkansas, Tom Cotton, argued that the enslavement of Africans by America's European settlers was the necessary evil upon which the Union was built. Cotton made the remarks in an interview with his home state newspaper, the Arkansas Democrat-Gazette. His comments come on the back of a bill he introduced in the Senate to prohibit the use of federal dollars to fund the teaching of history, according to the New York Times 1619 Project. So they want to come out and withhold funds of people that want to tell the truth about history, even though he says that slavery was a necessary evil. The 1619 Project traces the history of the United States from the year the first batch of enslaved Africans were settled in the country from their homes in Africa. The project seeks to explain how pertinent slavery was to the founding of the country, and particular regard to America's economic might. You know, that was a thing that has to be known. Slavery wasn't just incidental; it was an important part. In commemorating 400 years since the 20 enslaved Africans, and they landed in August of 1619, so it's almost 401 years. First landed near Point Comfort in the British colony of Virginia in August of 1619. The New York Times has launched the 1619 Project to highlight slavery and the contributions of black people in America's founding. It aims to reframe the country's history, understanding 1619 as our true founding, and placing the consequences of slavery and the contributions of black Americans at the very center of the story we tell ourselves about who we are, says the New York Times. So that was one of the things. Now, he wants to hold back funds if anybody starts teaching history that way, saying that it was a necessary evil. So as saying that, okay, it was necessary in the founding, like what becomes necessary? Was it okay to do horrendous things? Does that make it okay? Does that make it where we don't owe any reparations, that we don't owe any apology, that we don't owe anything to those people, to those descendants of those people who were enslaved? I think not. So Senator Tom Cotton, I know that there's nobody even running against him, they say, this year and stuff, so he's going to be reelected. But it's just really something for that to be what comes out of our United States Senate. We have to do better. We are better. And as Americans, we've got to strive to make this country better. Yes. Well, hate to hit you with that at the end, but this has been the BFTAA and More show. My time is running out. This is your host, George Walker. I come to you from the Black Family Technology Awareness Association and W.E.B. Du Bois Learning Center, who came together to form this radio station, Knowledge, Understanding, and Wisdom. We call it KUAW. So join us again next Monday from 5 to 5:45 right here. If it's on YouTube, if you're on Facebook, if you're on Twitter, you can get us there, so we're glad to have you. You can also pick up the audio broadcast, and we'll be doing rebroadcasts of this show. So go to YouTube and you can download and you can play these over and over again. We are a podcaster. We are a internet radio station. We strive to be your knowledge and understanding station. So thank you for joining me. We'll talk to you again next week. Have a great week that this is going to be. Bye-bye.